Shalum, Shalum, and welcome. Welcome to White Robes family. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I am compelled to present before an awakening nation. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, I have spoken much of how I believe that if we looked at one of the purposes of the feast times that can be passed on from generation to generation, is it could be a tool to build unity. Consider the steps. Consider what is received from the feast times, my brothers and sisters. And it just might be key if these purposes are made alive to you, for someone to ignore any of these steps. I submit to you, it would be problematic. But I won't spend much time, since I speak on this on the beginning of many of the segments that I most recently posted. As I get into this 40th installment, let me read the following. Warning and disclaimer: the information contained in White Robes family represent instructions and warnings to individuals who believe they are drawn by the Almighty Creator Yahuah to Yahusha Mashyach. The content presented centers around end-time realities. Please be advised this site is not intended for children under 16 years of age due to its content. I'm going to pause for a moment to let you know this, my brothers and sisters. It's not that my messages will not reach someone under 16. It's not designed due to the fact of emancipation and various other laws and regulations within the United States. So to move within compliancy, this is why that statement is there. Let me continue. By continuing forward, you agree to hold Symmanayah harmless of any influencing or actions that arise as a result of watching, listening, and reviewing the content presented. The views expressed do not reflect the owners, management, and/or shareholders of this media platform. Be advised that I am not affiliated with any other ministries using similar names. With that said, let's get into this 40th segment, my brothers and sisters. Come with me and hear these words. In this segment, my brothers and sisters, I'm compelled to call it the Great Escape, Instructions for Life. And as you can see, you see a gray or black and white, or me wearing black and white, my brothers and sisters. And like I said, this is not an order, but this is something that helps me to keep in mind the order that the feast times existed. And out of darkness we received life. Out of instructions from the drawing power of the Almighty Father, we receive life. And thus I choose the color black. Again, it's not ordered. This is by permission. I am allowed to do such. The Great Escape, O Yashar'al. What comes to mind? For most people, the Great Escape will probably be the greater Exodus, the final Exodus. But I submit to you, there is much more to the Great Escape than the initial premise and thought. But there are some things I must present. I'm compelled to present before you, my brothers and sisters. Come with me as I read the following. I say to you, my brothers and sisters, there is a need to embrace discerning the importance of your inner man. Let me say again, there's a need to embrace discerning the importance of your inner man. You see, my brothers and sisters, within this tabernacle that is known as our bodies, our physical presence is the inner man. And I believe during these end times, the Most High wants us to recognize that we have a spirit in this tabernacle, and recognize how powerful it is joined with him, how strong and how much more this inner man will live forever. And for those who are set apart, Yashar'al, children of the Almighty Father, that spirit will be with Yahusha Mashyach forever, life everlasting. For those in the outer court, those outside of the body of set apart Yashar'al, a different destination awaits you. My brothers and sisters, let me read the following. Romans 7 chapter, verse 22 through 25. It reads as follows. For I delight in the Torah of the Almighty One according to the inward man. For I delight in the Torah of the Almighty One according to the inward man. Looks like I put it on there twice. Typo, my brothers and sisters. 7:23, but I see another Torah in my members, battling against the Torah of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the Torah of sin, which is in my members. Torah means instructions, my brothers and sisters, instructions and laws. So when he says, I see another Torah in my members, there are instructions that the flesh gives us. These are instructions we receive through teaching, through academics, oftentimes things that we have been conditioned and programmed to believe or accept. We see it as we are awakening that there are many things we were programmed to believe that are untrue. And here we see Shaul talking about the Torah of his mind, how he was influenced by what he saw, what he physically heard, and what spirits came about him. But he said, bringing me into captivity to the Torah of sin, which is in my members. So he see that there is a battle of the flesh and his spirit. And he told us that he delight in the instructions from the Almighty One, the Torah of the Almighty One. He goes on to say, since he see this battle, wretched man that I am, who should deliver me from this body of death? And he goes on to say in the 25th verse, thanks to the Almighty One through Yahusha Messiah, our Master. So then with the mind, I myself truly serve the Torah of the Almighty One, but with the flesh, the Torah of sin. Letting us know that while he's yet walking, there will be times that his body will cause him to walk and stumble and fall. His flesh, the instructions of sin, stumbling. But he thanks the Almighty Father through Yahusha Mashyach. It is through his spirit that he is able to truly serve and respond to the instructions from the Almighty Father. There's more, my brothers and sisters. Come with me. 2 Corinthians, my brothers and sisters. 2 Corinthians said, therefore we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day. I mention this one often. But let me continue with the 17th and 18th verse. This is in 2 Corinthians, 4th chapter, verse 16 through 18. I'll start again and I'll read them all the way through. Therefore, we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day. For this slight momentary pressure is working for us a far more exceeding and everlasting weight of esteem. We are not looking on what is seen, but on what is not seen. For what is seen passes away, but what is not seen is everlasting. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, it is important that we grow to recognize the inward man. It's important to know what lies ahead for us, for there is more work ahead of us than behind us, my brothers and sisters. There are many tasks, and each and every one of us is valuable to the body of Yashar'al. Each and one of us, though the body have many members, we are one. And the unity that is required to fulfill end-time prophecies will come to be. The inner man, my brothers and sisters, instructions for life. He who ignores the instructions will find the experience of life a struggle. Pray, O Yashar'al, and seek to discern these words. Instructions to help build a mature life and set apartness comes before us. Let me read the following. Come with me, O Yashar'al. On the matter of being caught up. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16 to 18. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16 to 18. Because the Master himself shall come down from the heaven with a shout and with the voice of the chief messenger and with the trumpet of the Almighty One, and the dead and Messiah shall rise first. Then we, the living who are left over, shall be caught away together with them in the clouds to meet the Master in the air, and so we shall always be with the Master. So then, encourage one another with these words. My brothers and sisters, this is one of the passages that fueled the term rapture, and they say rapture represents being caught up. But I want you to understand, my brothers and sisters, there will not be a pre-tribulation rapture. And I want you to understand what this means, as I believe it was made known and clear to me. Take a moment, Yashar'al, and if you don't know this, search the scriptures. The scriptures speak of much destruction. There are scriptures that say the earth is everlasting. But know this, my brothers and sisters, the planet Earth has many layers, many layers. You can destroy the earth, the surface, in the first layer, even maybe the second layer. And that doesn't destroy the entire planet. I believe, my brothers and sisters, through prayer and supplication and communion with the Spirit of the Almighty Father, that he said to me that in widespread destruction that is described within the written word, through widespread destruction that I have made known to you regarding the tribulation, regarding widespread destruction, regarding the earth and the planet melting, when the time comes, right before judgment time, 1 Thessalonians, what it is saying, he will lift up all those from the earth and create a new earth, a new Jerusalem. There will be a point in time. It's almost though if you were wiping clean a table and you lifted up something precious off the table to finish wiping it clean and then you set it back down. You see, my brothers and sisters, this passage does not say we'll meet them in the air and stay in the air. This passage doesn't say we'll meet them in the air and go to heaven. Yes, there's a place he prepared where the streets are paved with gold, and there are many mansions. Could this be the new Jerusalem? Could this be a foreshadow of where we would be? My brothers and sisters, there will be a caught up, but it would be at the twinkling of an eye. It would be within the flash of time as we know not to this day. But there will not be a pre-tribulation rapture. Let me continue, my brothers and sisters. It is time to begin discerning more about the realities of everlasting life. You see, if we realize the inward man, if we realize that everlasting life, if we realize the instructions to life immensely, then we will recognize that what will happen in these earthen vessels will come and go in an instant. For forever we will be with Yahusha Mashyach. Let me read Matthew 19:29 and 30. It reads as follows. And everyone who has left houses and brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many who are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Everlasting life, my brothers and sisters. We must choose he who created us, he who gives us breath, he who gives us life. For it is he who gives the life to those who are drawn, that he chooses to draw. Let us not try to take control of he who is the Aleph Tah, he who is the Almighty One, and rewrite the narrative. For in doing so would be wicked. The realities of this, my brothers and sisters, everlasting life. There is so much ahead of us than behind us. Let us begin to accomplish what is expected of us. Let's develop a ready mind to embrace and step into the things that are tasked before us. There is more, O Yashar'al. More on everlasting life. Let me read Matthew 25:41 through 46. Matthew 25th chapter, verse 41 through 46. It reads as follows. He shall then also say to those on the left hand, go away from me, accursed ones, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his messengers. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Was naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also shall answer him, saying, Master, When did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick and in prison and did not serve you? Then he shall answer them all. He shall answer them, saying, truly I say to you, in so far as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, are you ready? Are you ready to witness the phenomenal things ahead? Right above my head, you see a picture of Jabal Allah's. It has been discovered and acknowledged as the true Mount Sinai. It is situated, my brothers and sisters, in the northwest quadrant of what is now known as Saudi Arabia, which is part of the northeastern Africa, to be precise. Jabal Allah's is the true Mount Sinai, and we will witness Yashar'al return. It is situated in the perimeter of the promised land, and I believe it will be the focal point for the gathering from the four corners of the earth. It is the mountain where our forefather, Mashyach, received the 10 Commandments. And I believe before the physical return of Yahusha Mashyach, we will gather there. Yashar'al, the final exodus, requires movement. Questions have answers. And the Most High will open our ears, unclog our ears, open our eyes. Within our spirit, we will grow to believe the promises of the Almighty Father. My brothers and sisters, this final exodus will prove that nationalities have their place. We're not to ignore nationalities, my brothers and sisters. But I say to you, there is more to just the nationalities. There's more to just being a Hebrew. There's more to just being a Gentile who have been grafted into the body of Yashar'al. There is more to the nationalities, but nationalities have their place. Our future provides more more beyond these nationalities. When Judgment Day comes, we will see a transformation, for we will put off these earthen vessels, my brothers and sisters. Be mindful, O Yashar'al. Everything has its place in time and its importance. Everything that the Most High have laid out before us. Let me read these words, O Yashar'al. 1 John 3:2 says, Beloved ones, now we are the children of the Almighty One, and it has not yet been revealed what we shall be. But we know that when he is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. I tell you, my brothers and sisters, a transformation is coming. That was 1 John 3:2. We'll see him as he is. We'll know how we will be when we see him as he is through the transformation. Matthew 22:30 says, For in the resurrection they do not marry, nor are they given in marriage, but are as messengers of the Almighty One in heaven. My brothers and sisters, now one might say, it says we're going to be like him as messengers in heaven. Who is able to define the true boundaries of heaven? Where does it begin? Where does it end? How vast is it? But I say to you, my brothers and sisters, that is necessary. For many people, perception is that heaven is just up in the sky somewhere, and we've given it boundaries of which we know not. Judgment Day will bring about transformation. It will bring about many answers. It will reveal what is expected of us in the life, everlasting life with Yahusha Mashyach. I cannot stress enough, my brothers and sisters, the importance of discipline. There's work to be done, my brothers and sisters. More than just coming together and shouting and praising and singing songs. There's work to be done, sharing, exhorting one another as the Spirit of Yahusha works in us one towards another. We exhort what is set apart, recognizing, confirming, reaffirming loving one another, working together, hand in hand. There's so many different things that each of us are tasked to do, but they will come together in harmony with the plan of the Almighty Father. This requires discipline, my brothers and sisters. Do not forsake the discipline of the Almighty Father. Fear him, as Proverbs 1:7, I believe. It's 1:7. And I'll look it up. Forgive me, my brothers and sisters. I've talked about it often. You would think I would have it in my mind. But like I say, the flesh do war against the spirit. My brothers and sisters, it talks about the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, let us not kick against the wisdom and discipline from the Almighty Father. Let us recognize what is before us. My brothers and sisters, I may sound, to some may say, as a broken record. To others, it's a reinforcement, a reminder. Yes, Proverbs 1:7. Proverbs 1:7, my brothers and sisters. It is important for us to recognize, not fear what man can do, but fear Yahuah. Embrace the wisdom and the knowledge that he has for you, for me, for us. All that he have, O Yashar'al, for there is much work to be done. Let me also read the following. Allow me. The natural and the literal great escape, my brothers and sisters. You see, the final Exodus, also known as the greater Exodus. Some may even say the second Exodus. Let me read these that talk about this. This is a natural and literal escape from the lands we have been scattered to the set apart promised land. Isaiah 11:12 says, and he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. Jeremiah, that was Isaiah 11:12. Jeremiah 29:14, and I shall be found by you, declares Yahuah. I shall turn back your captivity and shall gather you from all the nations, from all the places where I have driven you, declares Yahuah. And I shall bring you back to the place from which I have exiled you. Jeremiah 29:14. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 34 says, and I shall bring you out from the peoples and gather you out from the lands where you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out. My brothers and sisters, many of you, when I mention the great escape as it relates to Yashar'al, may think about leaving Mystery Babylon, may think of the final Exodus, the greater Exodus. But I say to you, this is the natural and literal Exodus before the physical return of Yahusha Mashyach. There is even something greater than this, O Yashar'al. This, though it is a great escape as it relates to us in these earthen vessels. Let me bring your attention to the next passage. Here, O Yashar'al, I say to you, this is the ultimate great escape. It is the escape from these earthen vessels. It is escape and removal out of these flesh which war against the spirit. Hear these words, O Yashar'al, Revelation chapter 20, verse 11 through 15. It reads as follows. And I saw a great white throne, and him who was sitting on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and no place was found for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, standing before the throne, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged from what was written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead who were in it, and death and Sheol, or some would say the grave or hell, gave up the dead who were in them. And there were judged each one according to his works. And death and Sheol or hell was thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And if anyone was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. This is the great escape, O Yashar'al, escaping eternal damnation. So the natural and literal escape is the final and greater exodus. The ultimate great escape is to be removed from these earthen vessels and be with Yahusha Mashyach forever and ever. Those who are indeed a part of the body of set apart Yashar'al. Remember, my brothers and sisters, there will be many experiences ahead of us. Our emotions will be challenged. There will be experiences before that ultimate great escape. Some of us will shout hallelujah, others may cry and weep, and some may face sudden death. But the realities are, my brothers and sisters, let us not seek to gain these lives, but let us seek He who will embrace us forever, He who will bring us into everlasting life with Him. And in the name of Yahusha, I say, O Yashar'al, remember the ultimate escape is eternal life, everlasting with Yahusha Mashyach. Let me read Matthew chapter 16, verse 24 through 26, as we gradually come to an end to this segment. It reads as follows. Then Yahusha said to his taught ones, if anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life shall lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and loses his own life? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life? Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, what say you on these words? Seek to discern that we must and we will choose whom we will worship and obey. We will choose how we will walk, and we will face the discipline that is required. We will see times of benefits and times of consequences. But know this, O set apart children of the Almighty Father, our redemption draws near. It's time, my brothers and sisters. It's time to establish a ready mind, body, and soul. It's time to recognize what it is the Almighty Father has for you, for me, for us. It's time to prepare. Will I be a martyr for Yahusha's name? That's the choice we must make. Will I be one called to deliver life-giving messages before destruction hits and never return to the promised land before the physical return, and not return to the promised land before the physical return of Yahushua Mashiach? Let it be so. Let us be prepared to yet shout hallelujah, for it is His plan coming into fruition. Will I be one among the ranks of those gathered from the four corners of the earth? If so, let it be. Gird up, O Yashar'al, establish a ready mind, body, and soul. Seek to discern the tasks that have been given you, or that you are being prepared and equipped to accomplish. There are plans, O Yashar'al. There are plans. White Robe family has been given a plan, and the plan do exist. You see the bullets. Before you are some bullets that talk about how we will build up a set-apart team of leaders, vetted and chosen by the Almighty Father. We will develop an information and resource center. There will be a team built up, recognizing the diverse skill sets of many and all among Yashar'al, and serve as mentors to the young or the unlearned, or those who are being guided into a specific trade or expertise, traditional or non-traditional. But those skill sets that line up with building the body of Yashar'al, whether it be growing, gardening, guarding, protecting, leading, holding, caring for. There's so many different tasks, my brothers and sisters, too numerous to name, just as our physical bodies have so many components. Yashar'al, develop a resource center, build a team with diverse skill sets, purchase land in Virginia the Commonwealth of Virginia, a state where I believe will be the exit point before we return to the promised land, my brothers and sisters. To identify and support safe zones as people begin to migrate from one point to the next, moving to the exit points of their prospective countries. As for the Western Hemisphere, I believe, again, it will be in the United States, the state of Virginia. To provide guidance and support for completing the journey, my brothers and sisters, to all across the world who are called by the Almighty Father, providing a connection, guidance, information on what must and will come to be, to provide guidance for the inner court life. And I'm saying inner court as in those who are indeed the children of the Almighty Father, called, drawn by him to Yahusha Mashyach. Provide all that is needed as we find ourselves waiting on Yahusha Mashiach's physical return. Yes, a plan. Is it the be-all plan? The only plan? No. There are plans that will join hand in hand, and we will join hand in hand with components that will bring about our completeness as we find ourselves being gathered, O Yashar'al. With much of things that we face in life, my brothers and sisters, there is a cost. It's a cost of resources, supplies, skills, and until money have no value at all, some money. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, first, if you received anything dealing with life that strengthens you or adds to you, consider, my brothers and sisters, consider sharing this channel with others. Subscribe and share. Consider supporting the works that will build up a focal point for our transition towards the promised land, a plan that I mentioned the bullets of, a plan that also provides support and information to those who will shelter in place, those who will be fortified and strengthened to face physical death for Yahusha's name. Prepare, O Yashar'al, there's much work ahead of us. And I use the term, use it or lose it. For I know the day will come when the things we have of value will no longer be in our possession as we find ourselves migrating. Some of us will face sickness. Some of us will get too old and fragile. Some of us will face illnesses where we will not be able to do the things we can do now. Rise up, O set-apart family. It's time to be active in the movement of Yashar'al, in the gathering of Yashar'al, in the building up in maturity of set-apartness. In the name of Yahusha, I say to you, my brothers and sisters, consider all that is ahead of us. There will be the great escape, my brothers and sisters. There will be the great escape. Instructions for life are moving across the face of the earth as I speak. We will learn to discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah in Yahusha's name. We will learn to not only discern his voice, but how to respond with correctness. We will get better. Our worship and obedience will improve. The promises from the Almighty Father will come to be fulfilled. Until next time, I say to you, O Yashar'al, stay tuned. There's much more ahead of us. The time is now to make your decision on who you will begin to get to know, who you will draw to, or to be prepared for those that will be drawn to you to lead, if this is what the Almighty Father is calling you to do. All that is promised will come to be, O Yashar'al. The great escape is closer than we realize. The instructions for life are before us. And as the written text that we have, though man has tampered with it, they cannot tamper with the spirit of the author. They cannot tamper with the spirit of the Almighty Father. And so in the name of Yahusha, we are enlightened and we are able to receive living instructions from him. I say to you, I thank you for your patience, your tolerance, your pursuit of set-apartness, my brothers and sisters. I thank you. I pray for your health, for your strength in spirit, mind, body, and soul, and your ability, our ability to discern. For as a sense of urgency ramp up, let us make wise decisions. With that said, until next time, my brother, my sister, I say to you, Shalum.